All right,
You ready?
Mr. Corbin Claypool, thanks for coming on, man. I know you're a busy guy, but I wanted to have you on because we've had some interesting talks about business, where we think the future is going, a lot of talks about our kids and their future and whatnot. I also know I've heard from people that you are successful dude, disciplined. I'm kind of jealous of your new gym, to be honest.
Hey, it took years to build. I always tell people that because they're like, how the hell? Like, that gym's crazy.
Yeah.
But it took 6 to 7 years to get
It's all Rogue equipment too, right?
Yeah. It's just a little bit every year, a little bit at a time.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it didn't happen overnight. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's one of your disciplines, right? Or one of your, what would you say? Is it somewhere where you let off steam, or is it somewhere where you just kind of get away, not think about things, or what would you call it? Because for some people I know they're like, oh, I have to go to the gym or I can't concentrate,
Yeah. It's like definitely a meditative spot for me.
Yeah.
And I live really far away from gyms because I kind of live in the country a little bit.
Yeah.
So to get to GB3 and back, just the trip, was 50 minutes of my day. And it just took a long
that
time.
round trip.
So I like going to the one on Herndon and Fowler, but there's one a little bit closer that was about 20 minutes away, but it wasn't as nice.
Yeah.
And so, I started building the gym little by little, and then it just kind of came to where it's at now. But it's a really meditative spot for me.
Yeah.
And it's usually how I start my day, is working out. And if I don't, I definitely still get shit done, but not to the same level. I feel like that morning piece is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quiet. It's still, well, we're in Fresno, so in the summer before it hits that 100 degrees, 90 degrees by 10 a.m., it's quiet. You go out there, there's no one out there yet. You got music set up out there, or do you like it quiet?
Yeah, I have like a little Bose speaker. And a little bigger speaker. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to have like a full speaker setup. Maybe one day.
I know some weirdos that like to work out with no music, no headphones on, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? How do you work out?
Dude, I've actually done that before.
Have you?
Yeah, I kind of like sometimes, not all the time. Not
Yeah.
all the time. Usually it's an audio book, a podcast,
I can
or
do
music.
those.
Something just to kind of get your mind going for the day.
Yeah.
So.
No, I have been podcasting a lot more when I'm at the gym. So, because I feel like it's actually nice because you kind of know where you're at in the morning. Like if you need a lot of music and caffeine to get going, it's probably not a go day. You know what I mean? But when I can still get a really good hard workout in with just listening to a podcast or an Audible or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, that's a good workout day because I don't need all the caffeine and stimulants and loud music,
No, do you drink a lot of caffeine?
I actually just started cutting it out about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, how do you feel? Do you feel? I mean, you're gonna feel like crap for a bit, but
I was gonna say, yeah, you feel like crap for a little bit, man. It's a weird. It's what it is. I switched that mushroom coffee.
Okay.
I think I just like the taste of like
Somebody told
dark
me about
chocolate
that.
in the morning. It's not even the coffee, because that was a nice switch for me. Because I was like, you know what, I'm still getting that. I think I just like dark chocolate or like that, whatever that taste is. But Raven got me on matcha, and it is a cleaner. Not like a pick-me-up, but you just never really get tired. You just kind of feel like, you don't kind of slump and all that. And then I started taking L-theanine and
I think
ashwagandha and some other stuff. I pop those all in the morning, and I'm like, I don't get a crash like I used to at 3, 4 in the afternoon. It's kind of weird.
I could be wrong. Matcha, I think, has it's like more concentrated than like green tea.
Yeah.
And I think green tea has L-theanine in it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And matcha
caffeine.
has more.
Yeah, and caffeine too. So that's why they like level each other out. That's what I've heard. So caffeine kind of goes like this, whereas the L-theanine with the caffeine kind of makes you more level. I don't know. I've noticed that too.
Yeah. Well, and then I'll take L-theanine, like long trips or whatever it is. I'll pop 200 milligrams of L-theanine.
Okay.
Like an hour before, and you feel, you don't get that like slump. It almost like it takes your energy level and just keeps it right there. Where you're like, oh, I need a coffee right now, or I'm slugging out. It just kind of keeps you like right there, where you're like, it's 3 o'clock. Like I'm not tired. Like let's go do so. I'll get home and kids are screaming, running around. I'm usually like, fuck, I'm tired. I'll be like, I'm not even tired yet. It's kind of weird, but you can still like go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. People say you should drink a bunch of coffee and then take L-theanine, so you get that caffeine spike, but then the caffeine or the L-theanine stops the jitters. I'm like, well, then why don't they just put more L-theanine in like pre-workouts or something?
Right. Because people like the jitters, dude. I feel like I don't like it
I was gonna
personally.
say, do you like
hate
jitters?
that. I hate that. But
Oh, yeah.
some people like that for their pre-workout. They want to feel like crazy pumped up.
Yeah, I don't want to feel out of my skin.
Yeah. But you know what I have been doing a lot of, and it's been great for energy, like calmness, is the cold plunge. And if
First thing in the morning?
most of the time,
Ooh.
yeah, or at nighttime. And here's the first rule of a cold plunge: is if you have one, you just got to talk about it, right? Because everybody that has a cold plunge talks about it way too much.
It's like when you become vegan.
Exactly,
Everyone
dude.
talks.
Yeah, or CrossFit, right? Or carnivore, any of those.
CrossFit.
You know, but I really do feel like it's made a big difference for me. It makes me super calm and wakes you up. I mean, obviously you're in freezing water, so you're gonna freaking wake up right away.
Oh yeah.
But I've kind of simmered down to drinking less caffeine. Instead of drinking energy drinks and all that, I'll have some coffee in the morning, and then I'll do the cold plunge. And,
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm still. So I'll do. So I took like a month off, doing the whole adrenal reset thing or whatever it was, because I was getting, like when you came in right now, you were on a phone call and you were like, oh my gosh, this day's going, and when I would have certain days where things weren't going well, I would feel a lot more antsy, like just not in a good mood. 3-4 things are not going well. You know, this email didn't even get sent, and this person didn't pay this, and this person didn't get approved. And I would just start feeling like tense, like my shoulders and my neck would start hurting. I was popping like 2 leaves like every other day. And I was like, when I don't drink the caffeine, I don't feel that. So I think there is something going on with your adrenaline, where it can kind of turn on you. Like it can take your temper or that annoyingness to a 10 really fast. Because even Raven would be like, you're moody today.
Irritable, right?
Yeah. You're just being irritable. And I was like, you know what? I did drink a lot of coffee this morning. I felt fine until then, but I feel like on days where I'm like that, I don't drink coffee.
Have you heard of the book called Caffeine Blues? It's a book about this, and there's for sure evidence that caffeine contributes to anxiety, depression, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what made me go, holy crap, I need to lower my intake, because I was drinking like 500-600 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Oh, so you're drinking cups a day.
I was drinking energy drinks, right?
Oh,
so I'd have my coffee, then green tea, then energy drinks. And there's some people that can handle it. It's dependent on the person. But
I think it's all genetic and lifestyle.
100%, because some people can drink caffeine like it's nothing, and they're perfectly fine. They don't have anxiety or anything like that. For me, though, I get a little tweaked out when I drink too much caffeine. Like I went to go do a little speech yesterday, a little seminar, and had a little too much coffee that morning. When I got there, I was like, I don't get nervous at stuff like this, but I felt like the excitement turned into like anxiety a little bit. I was like, I need to drink some water. Like the jitters, like that, excited, like, I'm gonna go do a panel, or I'm gonna do, and you see all the people, and you get like that little nervousness, but it's like, I'm excited, nervous, and then once you start talking, you're fine. And like right before I went up, I was like, whoa, I was like, my chest feels right. I was like, I shouldn't drink all that caffeine. Dude, public speaking is something that I had to work on big time, because that's actually one of my biggest weaknesses, is public speaking. And so I'm better now, but dude, I still get super nervous. It's just I feel like you got to do it over and over again, and then you get over it. So
no, and that exactly. Because when I was doing some seminars or speaking, or like our office, we throw on these big things for retirement, and they'll, you walk in the room, you're like, oh shit, there's a lot of people in here looking at me. But you get like that nervous, good jitter. And then once it, they say kind of like boxers, like once the first punch is thrown, all the nerves are gone, and now you're in the game. And but I was like, man, these last couple of years, I don't know what it is, but me and caffeine are just, sometimes we're friends and sometimes we're not. It'll take that excitement to anxiety,
to the next level.
And it's like, I never really, everyone throws around the word anxiety, but it's like, oh shit, I think this is what they're talking about, like that. This doesn't feel like, I'm not excited anymore. I want to get the hell out of here. Like, let's.
You start, getting anxiety, then it can turn into a friggin' full-blown panic attack, bro, if you got too much caffeine. But
hold on. So the cold plunge.
Right.
Do you have one of those cold plunges that like keeps itself cold, or do you have like the big horse trough that you just throw ice in, like a big metal? Like which one's yours? Is yours where the water moves?
Yeah,
I heard those are terrible because the water
makes you
moving.
Colder. Yeah. So it moves a little bit, but it filters it and keeps it cold. Shout out to my boy Christian Brown, who he sold it to me. He owns.
Is he here local?
Yeah, he owns Valley Cold Plunge.
Oh, okay.
And so
nice.
he's the dude, and he hooked me up. I called him one day. I saw him selling it. I was like, well, I didn't know you sell this. Called him, came out to my house, set it up for me. And so, yeah, it's the one that circulates and keeps cold. So I keep it at about 39 degrees on the actual system.
Yeah.
But it's usually about 2 or 3 degrees higher than, what it actually says.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I've done cold plunges, or like even in the winter. Like me and Kane, he'll get in the pool with me. And you go out there in the winter, like January, December, and you're just like, oh my God. And me and Raven did like a little challenge last year. Where we were trying to get in every day for 30 days. And I was like, dude, after 3 minutes, your body hurts so bad. Like I started shaking so bad, I got like a knot in my shoulder to my neck for like a week because I was shaking so bad. And my shoulders were so hot. Yeah, because we were just in there and it's like freezing.
How cold do you think it was? Like 40 degrees?
Yeah, it's probably somewhere around there. It's like dead middle of winter and, just pool,
You get used to it. You get used to it. It's just doing it consistently, you know, and then it's like there's never a time when I look at it and I go, oh, I want to get in this thing. Never.
I think that's the point.
And that's the point right there, because it's a mindset shift. Like even if you're having a bad morning or you just feel like crap, you make the decision to get in that like cold ass water. It's like, okay, I just do it. Because people always say, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, they say it's the first conquer of the day, right?
Right. People always say working out so hard.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, people say working out so hard. I love working out. So that's not the hardest part of my day for me, right?
Yeah.
But getting in that cold plunge, dude, I never want to get in it.
Yeah.
But you just do it and you feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's only, what I love about it is it's only 2 to 3 minutes. It's not like you have to be in there for 30 minutes or something.
2 to 3 slow
very
minutes.
Slow. Very
Don't
slow.
Look at the clock.
I have the timer right in front of me, watching it the whole time. Terrible. But I just close my eyes and I breathe and I meditate, and it slows down your heart rate just because it's so freezing. So it automatically relaxes you just by being in there.
Yeah.
But once you're in there and you get out, you feel so much better, and then I'll go into the sauna and sit in there for 20 minutes. And
I need a sauna. I think that's what my problem is. I can't warm up fast enough.
Well, dude,
I have the shower ready, like literally ready. But no, I need a sauna.
Dude, so you want to actually, when you get in the cold plunge, from what I've read, is you want to actually let your body try to heat up naturally.
That's what I've heard. So way too hard.
Yeah. So I will get in the sauna, but you're supposed to like let it heal, or not heal, but get back up to.
Yeah. No, they say it's you want to get that, well, kind of like running. Like, because I like going to the gym too, but I hate running. Mm-hmm. So some mornings I'll go on a run and I'm just like, oh, I hate running. And then, when it's winter, because in the summer, the pool's not that cold. Mm-hmm. But in the winter, I didn't like become like addicted to it. But after like those 2 weeks of Raven and I doing that little challenge, I kind of like wanted to get in. Like a couple days would go by and I actually started getting in the morning. And I was like, why do I kind of want to just do a quick dip just to get that little, oh my God,
Well, it's a huge dopamine rush.
Yeah.
They've already done studies and it releases a ton of dopamine and I don't know how to pronounce that. Norepinephrine? Norepinephrine or something like that.
Basically adrenaline.
Yeah, it releases, both of those, and so that's why you feel better.
Yeah. Well, apparently, so I've listened to like, I've read like Wim Hof and Dr. Rhonda Patrick, the way she explained it. You ever hear her on Joe Rogan?
Dude, yeah, I love her. That's where I'm basically regurgitating everything they've said.
Yeah. And so what she says is basically your body thinks it's dying. So it's going to, so like if you were to fall into a lake, you're driving up to Shaver, you fall in the lake or something happens, your body starts freaking out. Your adrenaline, you start breathing hard, your muscles are so tense, your body's dumb. It doesn't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. Your brain tells it what to do, right? Mm-hmm. And so after a couple minutes, your body is going, oh my God, we might die. How did we just go from normal to 35 degrees? Mm-hmm. And so your body starts, you don't feel it, but your body is just dumping all these hormones into you for survival, basically. So then once you get out, you get to keep all those hormones, because you only get them through like stress, like those stress hormones, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like what they say, like before somebody dies, they always feel like they're better. Like those last 2 days, like Raven and I were watching Yellowstone, and when, spoiler alert, when the daughter dies, the last like day or two, she's like, Dad, I think I'm getting better. I feel good.
Which daughter dies? Did I not see this?
Oh no, 18 1890, whatever it's called.
Dude, yeah.
You remember that part?
Yeah, dude, I love this.
So, spoiler alert, you should have already watched it.
Yeah.
But so, and Raven actually, and I was like, that totally makes sense now. Because before the daughter is getting ready to die, because she has that wound. And she walks out, she gets out of bed, and everyone's like, what are you doing out of bed? She's like, I feel good. Can I have something to eat? I'm hungry. And the dad gets sad because he knows that's what happens to everyone. Before they go, your body starts releasing all these hormones. It's like its last hurrah. Gets rid of the pain. You start feeling good. You get a little color in your face. But you're actually dying. You're at your last day.
Interesting.
And I didn't know that. And and Raven sitting here telling me, and I had to pause it, and I was like, oh my God, that just made this so much sadder. She was like, yeah, it happens to people in hospitals. Wow. Your last day or two before, like, some people actually feel pretty good. So same thing with a cold plunge, not as extreme, but that shock, apparently, when you get out, because I started getting I get the giggles. The first 3 days we did the cold plunge in the pool, I jump in, I'm miserable, I'm shaking, and then once we got out, I was sitting in the front room warming up, and I couldn't stop laughing. And Raven was like, what's wrong with you? And even Kane was like, Dad, are you okay? I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
For no reason. And I was like, why am I so giggly right now? Like, I feel like I'm kind of high. And then I got in the shower, and the rest of the night I just felt good, and I was like, they're right. When you're that miserable for 3 minutes, pushing it as hard as you can, and you get out and you're just so happy to be warm, your body's like, oh my God, we have another day to live. Yeah. And then you just feel great. So probably should start doing it in the morning.
Yeah, I feel like morning's the best time because it does give you some energy. So some people have problems falling asleep if they do it late. And I don't have problems doing that, but I've heard that.
That'd probably wake me the hell up at night. I'd be oh shit.
Yeah, but if you do that and then you jump in the sauna, they have this thing that, what's his name? What's that doctor? He's super viral. Everybody knows him. Talks about
the Italian guy,
biohacking. Every podcast known to man.
The Mother Effer Gene guy.
No,
guy.
It's Andrew Huberman.
Oh, Huberman.
Yes,
hell yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So he talks about how going in the sauna for 20 minutes, then going into the cold plunge. And then sauna, then cold plunge, then sauna, then cold plunge. You do that 3 times. That's how big it's time investment.
Yeah.
But I've done that 1 time or 2 times now at nighttime. And dude, you get afterwards, you feel so good. Yeah. But you go from that sauna to cold plunge on the last time, and you are freezing ass cold.
Really,
I was.
Your body's like enough.
yeah. I was freezing. I was shivering in there. So,
wow.
But it felt really good afterwards, and apparently you release a lot of human growth hormone doing that.
That's what I was gonna say. Sure, did you?
That's what they said.
Yeah. Apparently, it can your testosterone just skyrockets after doing that kind of stuff.
Supposedly, I want to get
especially
it checked.
The heat. I heard the heat more, not so much the cold, but the heat shock proteins. When your body's under that much heat in the sauna, for 10, 15 minutes, apparently a couple hours later, your testosterone just whether you kind of feel it or not, is just skyrocketing. Blood vessels are opening, and your testosterone just from the stress type of thing. I was check interesting.
I'm gonna check on that because I just got my T levels checked 2 months ago, so that'd be a good metric to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I did start to notice it a little bit with the cold stuff. Raven was like, dude, you gotta stop doing that because I think it is raising your testosterone. You're getting annoying, and I was like, I think it's working. That being frozen, I think might be raising my testosterone a little bit.
Hey, it's never a bad thing, right?
Yeah, but. So anyway, not trying to make this a health podcast.
Yeah.
So earlier we were talking about entrepreneurship, business, and strategizing basically against not even just competitors, but AI. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee, and Gary Vee, he's constantly talking about using AI, ChatGPT, Zapier, connecting all these things, social media. Your social media is basically your new business card. If you're not on social media, LinkedIn, doing podcasts, YouTube, without that attention, you're just going to get left behind.
Right.
And I was like, man, he's totally right because, I'm still growing my page. I only get 10, 15 likes on each video, but I get a lot of messages during the week now. And I'm like, hey man, don't forget to like the video. Oh, I just forget.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll wake up to a lot of messages just posting little helpful tips, not even trying to make a sale, but just, don't forget this. make sure you're doing this, or, when you're getting insurance, make sure you're shopping around and make sure to ask them this. But are you leveraging any of that? Are you guys strategizing with AI or using that like in any way right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, me and Balin did a podcast a long time ago about AI. And I think AI is obviously super important to implement in your business. I mean, just go on ChatGPT and type in, give me some recommendations on a follow-up list that I want to give to my staff. And it will obviously be more specific, but it will give you steps and
so many ideas.
It'll give you so many ideas. I mean, that as a human, you can't really spit those out that fast. I mean, you could sit down and you could write them down, but it's just different. So I think implementing it in the business is huge, but I think ultimately in the type of business that we're in, it's service-based. And I think people want that human connection. And I don't think AI is there yet. Maybe one day it will be there.
Yeah.
Right?
But it probably will be.
Yeah, but it's not there yet. And people still want to work with somebody they trust, know.
Yeah.
So I think implementing it and using it in ways to internally leverage, to take tasks away from you that maybe you needed to write an email drip or something like that. That's where it can be really impactful. Mm-hmm. But that's how we're basically implementing it. I mean, we don't have a bunch of AI. I know there's AI videos out there where you can literally have them mimic your face, and then
it's kind of creepy.
Right, and then it will send stuff out and to clients or whatever you want. You could do all of that. We don't do that right now. I mean, maybe it's something that we do in the future.
Yeah.
But mainly we just use it to kind of help leverage time or get our time back with helping build different systems and whatnot.
Definitely. Yeah, because I was thinking the other day, I got a call from a robot and it was pretty good. I really thought it was a lady for a minute because I was like, who are you with? And then the robot slipped up a little bit and I was like, oh, this is a robot.
Are you serious?
Oh my God. Yeah, they were calling about some type of credit line thing and I knew it.
What did they say?
It was like, hey, Damon. And I go, yeah. I go, who's this? And it was like, I'm Barbara. And I was like, oh, because it had that little pause, I could recognize it. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, I was like, they're getting good.
Well, I think too, it depends on what you're trying to compete with. And what I mean by that is if you're a local guy, you're relationship based, you're community based, AI is not going to be able to compete with that right now.
Yeah.
As far as making connections and relationships and things of that nature, right? However, if you're just a call center calling people, right?
Yeah.
That is something that AI may be able to compete with if it gets good enough on the phone. Because
just
now
in mass all day.
Exactly, because maybe they can't convert as many people. But let's say instead of one guy being able to call 200 people in a day or something like that, the AI can call 20,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just have an option menu. Hey, did you need this? Press 1 instead of trying to be a robot. Yeah, you can, those thousands every
and then
day.
it could just live connect to, for let's just say I'm using mortgages as an example, but it could live connect to an internal loan officer. Oh, hey, I heard you checked your credit, everything's been checked, and okay, let's get your application started. So that's where I feel like it could kill a lot of these call center companies that have a lot of humans working in there. But I feel like if you're community-based, relationship-based, helping people in your area, I feel like that's going to be really hard for them to compete with that. Yeah. That's a different, and you've seen it time and time again with companies, online lenders, Rocket Mortgage, all these companies, and they do a lot of business, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, they still have trouble competing with the local people in every single area because they're entrenched in the community.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because referrals that's the lifeblood.
100%.
Referrals, being out there, being at different events, donating things, But it was interesting because I was like, how long? Well, I asked ChatGPT, what are going to be the first 20 jobs to go in the next 5 years? And it gives you a list.
What did it say?
It was basically like you were saying, call centers are going to be gone.
They said that?
It was not life insurance, but health insurance, it said, is going to be implementing it a lot. Because like you said, you don't really need, for me, I have to sit with you or over the phone. I have to ask you some questions. AI is not there yet, but I know all these companies. So unless you programmed an AI to know all the companies for COPD, diabetes, or bankruptcies, I know what company to put you with.
Right.
So, having me shop companies for you, it's going to save you a lot of time. And I'm just going to be honest with you, you want to go with this company or that company. I don't get any special commission, but with health insurance, I mean, how many companies can just say, here's an email list of 10,000 people, call each one every day. Hey, are you looking for this? Because that's a little bit easier. It's not so customized, but with all the health questions and things like that. But I'm using ChatGPT right now just to get, like you were saying, just to give me ideas. How could I do this? How could I work with these people? Give me a prompt to, I want to work with people with larger estates. What's their biggest problem? And what are the biggest assets that they need to protect? And it's
insane.
Gives you amazing ideas.
They may not all be perfect or great ideas, but it will spit out so many that you're like, oh shit.
It'll get you going though. You're like,
exactly. It'll get you going to where your brain. And I think we got to be realistic and looking at where AI is going. And I feel like an industry that is going to struggle, and it's going to move into our industries too.
Yeah.
Eventually it will, but I think an industry that's going to struggle is cars. Big time, because I mean, for me, like when I buy a car, I don't no problem with salespeople. I'm a salesperson and all that, but I don't really want to talk to a salesperson, dude, to be honest. Like, I know what I want. I just want to press a button and buy the car and go to my bank or whatever. I mean, that's kind of what I want to do.
Like when you walk into some McDonald's now, you just go to the screen, tell it what you want. Just tell me, I want this car, I want this gas mileage. Tap, 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 tap.
Yep.
Do I have your permission to look up your credit? Tap, put your ID in or whatever. It'll tell you, okay, yeah, you're accepted for this much, and we know your credit history. It's going to run it like in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
And
like,
then you just buy a car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what Tesla does, right?
Yeah.
Tesla kind of proved that model works.
Yeah.
Because they do everything online. You order and then you take shipment in the facility. And I don't think, maybe they have salespeople there. I'm not too sure. I've never bought a Tesla.
Yeah.
But and then I do think it's going to pour into mortgages as well. I think I'd be lying to myself if I said mortgages are never going to be affected by this. I think mortgages will be affected by this, because eventually you're going to be able to just press a button, enter all your information in, get approved, and there's going to be computer systems that can review things a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's going to look up your It's going to look up your credit, because I mean, what are you really looking for when you're in the lending market? You're looking for like credit reports, just
So we're going to pull three things. We're going to pull income, credit, and assets in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right? Credit's going to verify if you qualify and what program you qualify for. Typically, income and assets are going to tell you how much you qualify for.
Yeah.
And the assets really is just where's your down payment and closing costs coming from.
Yeah.
That's about it. Income though can get a little complicated depending on the type of employment. Are you per diem? Are you commission based? Are you self-employed? This is where things can get difficult. But if you have a nurse that's W-2 that's making $200,000 a year, and she's salaried and she's been there for 5 years and she has a 760 FICO score, you don't need an underwriter to really look at that, in my opinion. You need like, if there's an AI computer that can just look at that and say, oh yeah, this person's good to go, stamp, you know. But maybe there are the more difficult scenarios, that a human needs to look at.
Yeah.
But maybe then there's somebody there that takes a second look at it on the back end. And then maybe there's a salesperson. So I think ultimately there'll always be salespeople, but I think the operations pieces and companies are going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller.
There's going to be that big shovel that's coming through though, capturing the majority of people. And then,
dude, like I think of it this way. If I, and I just want to say I love my staff, and I would never replace them with AI. But if
be careful, man, this is beyond you too. Right.
No, seriously. But if I had, let's say, a robot that could do the work of 4 pre-qualers and underwrite and everything else, and all I had to do is talk to clients, oh yeah, everything's good, and then my freaking robot took care of it all and then just sent it back to me within like 5 minutes. Like how?
Hey, this is Corbin's AI just following up with you to let press 1. It's like
right. It could do that, or like, hey, you're pre-approved for a loan. Here's all of your information. Here's the pre-approval. Here's the loan estimate. Call the loan officer to talk to them about it. Right. Yeah. Then all of a sudden now you're going, oh shoot, like I don't necessarily need all these operational people. And that's probably a long way away, but that's where I see AI going. I think operations is going to get compressed big time in the future, which is kind of sad because that's jobs that are needed.
Yeah.
So.
Or I'm gonna make sure everyone keeps a job over at everyone keeps a job over there.
Oh yeah.
I was also thinking when you were talking though, or you could do double the business.
That's true.
Like you're still going to have staff, you know, because it's kind of like, you know, I was reading this thing the other day that 80% of jobs, you know, back in the early 1900s, everyone just had farms, or you worked at a store, just anything around food, farms, gas, oil. That's pretty much it until the tractor came. And then everyone was like, oh shit, that's going to replace everybody. That thing can do what 10 of us do in an hour. It was kind of scary at first, but then it's like, well, you know what? You still need us to move things around and service it, you know, but now we can just get 10 times the work done.
And I think, you know, you can move them positions. So let's say somebody's focused on pre-quals. It's like, okay, hey, bro, you're trying to get more business. Excuse me. You're trying to get more business now. Ultimately, you're talking to more clients up front. Now, ultimately, rather than like doing the back end of trying to pre-qual somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's definitely opportunity there. But I do think operations, that's where it's going to hit people hard. Is when AI can start doing computer stuff. That's going to be kind of scary.
Yeah,
what's going to happen in the market.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. You know, being in the insurance world. I mean, I only have one assistant right now, but you know, with AI having more ideas, putting out more content, especially YouTube content, that's where everything's at. Getting more referrals and more business every day. I could use AI to do follow-ups, but then I'm kind of always, like you said, you're always going to need that human contact or human touch, you know. AI can do the little follow-up stuff, can sort my emails, it can send, you know, hey, you need to sign this PDF, and then your assistant or people in, you know, in your staff, they follow up just to make sure it's done correctly, or, you know, things like that. Well,
and I feel like AI would have to get to a certain point to where they almost become, I mean, not conscious, but aware of what's going on. And that would be really, I don't know, that's, and this is above my pay grade, bro, because there's people that are way smarter than me
right now.
Exactly. But I'm just, you know, we're talking out of our ass basically because we don't really know shit.
We're hoping it doesn't take our jobs. Is what we're doing. We're trying. This is our. We're putting out for employment right now in case anyone's watching this.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. But like, I mean that's basically what I think is that AI would have to be aware of a situation. Like if somebody's going through escrow, they would need to know when to call them and what to say. And I feel like that part's far off. You're going to need a human for that. But like for loans, bro, you know, there's a part where it's just like, hey, we're just calculating income, credit, and assets. And that is definitely something that a computer could replace. If they could just review.
It's just looking at numbers.
And it'd be way faster.
It'd
be way faster because a human, it could take us 30 minutes to an hour to review a file, sometimes 4 or 5 if it's a really tough file. But if they automatically can look at everything, 5 minutes, I mean, that'd be a big difference. So
well, because in the insurance world, the biggest thing is health questions. Yes, they look at bankruptcies, you know, especially if you're trying to get a $5 or $10 million policy, and you're like, you know, my income is there, I can prove that I need this, and you know, they're not looking for like collateral or anything like that, but you know, you have bankruptcies and little things like that, but the companies will offset it because they're looking at you as a whole. They're looking at DUIs, felonies, bankruptcies, your health, and then your income and whatnot. And they're not going to disqualify you for one thing. And I think, at least with life insurance, AI, I think that would take a long time. Well, I don't know, maybe not. But a couple years ago, in the final expense, the burial insurance policies, those are like $50,000 and under. You know, those are for older people. They're looking for $20,000, $30,000 for a burial policy, right? Well, that underwriting is totally different. It's so much more lenient. You know, you could have had a heart attack over 24 months ago. You're going to get day one approval. But for traditional life insurance, they're like, no, you need to wait 10 years because we're not giving you $1 million policy. You're too high a risk. But what I've seen though is happening is that these apps are getting better though, because those policies are much more lenient. There's just like a prescription list that they don't want. You know, whether you know it's heart medications or cancer medications, if any of those pop up during your, you know, when they run your social security number, because I mean I can approve people in 30 minutes right over the phone. They give me their social, they give me all their stuff, I run it through, and then some of these companies like Aetna or Mutual of Omaha, for the final expense stuff that's more lenient, they're only looking for certain things to pop up on that health. You know, they're going to go through your HIPAA. They're going to, I mean, I don't know how they're doing it. They're getting your doctor's records really quickly, your pharmaceutical records, like within a minute or two. And then you wait for 30 seconds and then the little thing turns green. And it's like, okay, go to the next page and finish off the bank information and they're approved. And I'm like, how the hell did it do that? And how long until it can do that for big policies? felonies, DUIs, bankruptcies. It either gives you the green, the yellow, or the red. But these are for smaller policies. You know what I mean? So it's looking for heart attack, stroke, cancer, major medications. And if something pops up on there, or if there's too many heart medications, it'll turn yellow. They won't be approved right then, but I just got to call the carrier and say, hey, what did you guys see on your end? So that makes my job much faster, because back in the day, doing all this through paper and fax and calling the company, dude, it took hours to do one policy. And now you can knock out multiple, which means now you do need more assistance. It's not going to take everyone's job, because now you can just do double the work and get that time back and get home to play with the kids instead of working on this all weekend. But how long until that just takes over? Until that, basically, you don't even need me. You just go on a major website, you put in your social security number, you put in all your information, HIPAA agreements, PDF, and it says, okay, we'll get back to you in 12 hours. It's like,
I feel like there's going to be people that want to talk to somebody, though. Maybe there's those people that just do it all online, like there is now, but there's going to be people that want to talk to somebody, and maybe margins, just like commission margins and whatnot, get compressed over time.
I just wonder how long until we're replaced. You know what I mean? Because people are, but you're right though. I think, because I even read this thing the other day, it was asking all these people, would they rather talk to a robot or a real person? And like 85% of people were like, I'd rather talk to a person, because, I've done this stuff online with banks and they get the wrong social number and repeat, did you say number 4? And people just get annoyed. But I'm always just thinking, just a couple more years.
Hear me out on stuff like this. I feel like there's going to be companies that literally say people only company, things like that. Right? It's going to be a marketing thing.
Robots are going to be pissed that they're discriminated against.
Right. Maybe one day, bro. Got to have robot rights, I guess,
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And I would do that. I'm not going to hire, I'm not going to have an AI replace one of my employees for more effort or for more money. You know what I mean? Like, if there's something that they can do that would help us, like help the people that we currently have and help them improve and help them be better, then I'd probably do that. But if we get to the point where there's actual robots, I'm not going to freaking use, like, I don't know. I wouldn't replace people for robots personally.
Because
for more profit.
Because, it's even like, they show those warehouses now. There's the robots that, they lift things up and they move things. And I remember I think California, they did the whole universal basic income. They tested it like in Stockton, and apparently it was terrible. It was horrible. Didn't go well. People just spent money on stupid shit. But
surprising when you don't earn it.
Right?
It's just given to you.
But it does make sense though, because if you're this humongous company, what they're saying the government's going to have to step in, and if you get rid of 500 employees, and you replace it all with robots, then they're trying to make it to where the companies still have to pay something to those employees, because they've all been replaced. Because now you don't need HR, you don't have insurance, you don't have liabilities. Now you just have robots working the floor, carrying things, lifting things up. You've got automatic.
See, that's jobs where it's a big threat.
That's truck drivers, I guess, in the next 10 years are just
truck drivers.
Yeah, really? Dude, it's like, I think they're going to be the biggest one to go.
Really?
Yeah,
and they never stop.
They don't have to sleep. They don't have to sleep.
Yeah,
nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they're saying, and that's why they.
I don't want to see that either, dude. Truckers supply our.
You can't go like this anymore to a truck. It's gonna suck.
Right. Exactly. And truckers supply our whole freaking nation, dude. Yeah. They're the backbone of the nation, really. With moving goods around and things of that nature. Yeah. So to have that replaced by robots, I don't know. I wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah. I told my kid the other day, do that to a truck, and he was like, "What?" I roll down the window. We're on the freeway, and I roll down the window, and it's like all the wind's coming, and I go, "Hurry up, bub, do it." And he's like, "Whatever," and he does it, and bonk, bonk, and he was like, "Oh my God, that was awesome."
Yeah.
And I was like, just little dumb things like that, from when you're a kid. And I was like, oh, cool, truckers still do that,
Yeah.
But then literally, I roll up the window and we're driving down the 99, and I'm like, how long until there's nobody in that seat? It's kind of creepy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how long until you're just like, well, I was driving by Vaughn's the other day, and there was a Tesla truck pulling the Pepsi thing. full on big old Tesla truck. And I was like, what the hell? It looks like a Stingray.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even know those actually were.
I didn't know they rolled them out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they already rolled out. So I'm driving by and there's this big old Stingray looking front end. It's like one light. And I was like, oh shit, that's a Tesla truck. And it's pulling a big old Pepsi thing, but there was still a guy in it. But I imagine, what if that guy can just like kind of like put his seat back and take a nap for 3 hours, and it just kind of shifts lanes, or it just stays at 55, and you know, if something happens, it'll wake you up, or I don't know. But I was like, well, the guy who's driving it right now, he's just training it. You know, like they say with the Cybertrucks, eventually Elon Musk wants to send those to Mars. But so everyone that buys one right now, you're training it. All the cameras on it, every time you switch lanes or it's seeing people, it's learning. So we are literally training the Cybertruck, and all the data is going to Tesla, and it's learning right now. So how long until, you know, it's like, okay, thanks for training my truck. It's just gonna, it knows the road, it knows the lanes, it knows that these states don't have very good roads, very good lanes up in Alaska, but it's learning what trees are, and it can stay on the road pretty good. It's like, well, it's trained now.
Yeah, it's learning.
We're teaching it. And I was like, dude, that is cool as hell, but creepy as hell at the same time.
That is smart enough too. The AI's, you know, implementing things it learns, you know, so. And
I just thought right now, when we're going on ChatGPT, how can I do this in life insurance? Or how you know, because you can give it really good prompts.
Right.
I'm a lender and I do this, and these are my specialties. How can I do this, this, and this to get more customers? Or what can I do to my landing page? We're training it.
Right.
Are we training it to take our jobs one day because we're telling it what we need as lenders and insurance brokers, and then one day it's going to turn around and make a badass web page, landing page, and doesn't need us anymore?
I don't think as a salesperson or business person it's going to take your job. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
But it'd be really far out, because again, people want that human connection.
Yeah.
You know. So
but I'm always thinking, we're training this thing right now. When you think about it, you know, we're telling it prompts, we're giving it storylines, we're telling it, you know, the good, the bad. It's just it's constantly learning from us right now on what we need and where the economy might be struggling, or you know what I mean. I'm sure people are constantly asking it real estate things and stock market stuff, and it's going, oh, so these are where the problems are at, or oh, this is, you know, these are the big places where people like to trade, and we can learn this. And I'm always thinking, like, fuck, we're training this thing right now. It's kind of creepy. So you have to, obviously, you have to use it, you know, and not try to use it against itself, but like Gary Vee was saying, you know, either you're just going to get hit by the wave, or you got your boogie board ready, and when it comes, you're just going to ride with it. Yeah. Because if you don't, your competition next door is just going to be automations and Zapier, and you know, it's going to have stuff on the website, automation stuff going out for you, and just saving you a ton of time so that you can take on more business.
Right.
You know, just double.
And that's where it's going to be huge, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which is where I'm always thinking more about our kids now. You know, as soon as you have kids, it's like you're just constantly thinking about their future. And so I was like, are our kids are they gonna go to college one day? You know, are they just gonna go to, like, you know, a lot of these places are just trade schools now. You know, you just want to be a nurse and you want to skip everything else, the math, the science.
You can do that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like you know, stuff like the healed colleges, you know, they just have a nursing program.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know, you're not in college doing this, and this for 2 years. It's a fast program, you know, and a lot of people, I guess, don't make it because it's quick. But, you know, they just have their specialty things, you know, because I feel like less and less people are going to college unless you're going to be like an attorney, a doctor, plastic surgeon, or something very specific. A lot of these trade schools are just picking up. I mean, look at Jordan Peterson has a whole online college now.
Does he really?
And I think you can get credits from it. Yeah.
Really?
It's crazy. I was like, damn, how long until AI is just running its own courses, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just go on a Zoom call and you can ask it questions, and it's used to those questions and it'll answer back. And, but I'm always thinking about my kids now. You know, like what jobs are going to be here. Like whenever my my kid says something about a certain job, I'm like, ooh, that's probably not going to be here in the future. You might want to lean towards this, bub, because I don't think that's going to be here one day. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't think that's going to be here one day. You might want to do this. Yeah. Is there anything you think your kids, you want to push your kids towards, job wise, or lending, sales, military, anything like that?
I don't want them, like, so I'm sorry, I'm thinking right now. For like the lending business, I would never be like, hey, you're going to take over this business.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, you're starting as the freaking janitor and you're picking up the trash. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And you're going to start as the receptionist and then you're going to work your way up. If that's the point that I'm at. And I learned that from my mentor, Jeremy. He's like, dude, like, you just got to be earned. Because if it's not earned, right? If it's not earned, I know some rich kids, okay, that were very, very wealthy, and their families are very wealthy, and they're a little more chill with it stuff. And I feel like when you have to really get after it and earn it, you appreciate it more, you know? So I feel like for my kids, no matter how much money we have or how well business is doing, whatever, like I want to make sure that they are earning that shit from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But so for lending, that's just specifically about lending. But as far as
you want to make sure they don't have an ego.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
You want to get that out of them as soon as you can.
Yeah. Exactly. You know? I think it's good to have a little bit of like an ego. Obviously, you can't be letting it be crazy where you think you're the king of the world type stuff. You got to be humble, but you got to have some confidence to you so that you can, But as far as like pushing them into certain jobs, dude, I just want them to be happy, honestly, and like whatever they decide is really up to them. But I want them to be like disciplined, and like you can't just be like a lazy ass. You know what I mean? You have to be going after something. But if you want to be a nurse, then be the best possible nurse that you can be. If you want to be a lender, be the best lender that you can be. If you want to be whatever it is, just be the best that you can be. So that's how I look at it with my kids. I just want them to love what they do. Kai, for his thing, I mean, obviously he's so young right now. He's only 5 and it's changed already like 3 times. But he's like, I want to be a doctor, Daddy. I'm like, hey, bro, that's a lot of work and a lot of schooling. Yeah. And I didn't do that much schooling.
Like, you better get some scholarships, dude.
Yeah, for real, right?
First, you need to be an amazing athlete because that's $300,000 school.
That's what I said. I said they're going to go on full rides for wrestling. Yeah. Dude, I wasn't a wrestler, so.
I want my kid to wrestle too.
Yeah, it's a great sport, dude. Like, I feel like for grit and everything else.
Well, some of the hardest working guys I know, all wrestlers. Like some of the guys that they're either killing it in military or running businesses or whatever they're doing, they're just, I don't know. Football is different. Like, you work your ass off in football. You're out there when it's 110 in high school or even younger than that. And, you're learning to be disciplined.
Right.
But I feel like those individual sports, like when I was boxing or whatever it was, I only lasted like 3 months in wrestling. My shoulder couldn't take it. My shoulder was already jacked. From being a dumb kid, snowboarding, skateboarding, falling, eating shit on, my bike.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So when I started wrestling, I was like, dude, this is a whole different cardio game. Like my shoulders just like this, because in football and other sports, you rely on other people. You can come out of the game, you go into the game, there's second stringers, there's all these, but I feel like with things like wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, it's like no one's coming to save you. You got to finish this off. You're tired, sucks. You can't just call someone else in right now or, hey, coach, messed up my ankle calling the second stringer. So I was telling Raven, I was like, I want Kane to start jiu-jitsu pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Over at Jeff's place.
Yes. Yeah. Kai's going to be going there, too.
Nice.
And Ezra.
Oh, yeah. So, and it's my excuse to start going again, too.
Are you going to go?
Yeah, man. I haven't trained. I haven't done anything in like 6 years since the last time I blew my shoulder out.
Oh, dude. You're going to, it's so much fun, man. Yeah. We go twice a week right now. So you're actually on Tuesday nights, you're welcome to come over. It's Jeff, me, Dave, and Chris roll at my house until his gym is built out.
Oh,
so if you ever want to come just to kind of get going, you can.
Yeah. So and I was like, man, it's funny. Like your kids are always like your excuse. Like I've been looking at dirt bikes lately, and Raven saw it like in the little Google. She was like, "What are you?" I was like, "Oh, it's I'm Kane, And then of course I'll get one. Like you got to use your kids as an excuse, but But yeah, just that individual competition, I feel like puts a separate gear in you. You know, because like when I started doing jiu-jitsu and competing, or like doing like little sparring things, like when I was young in boxing, it was like, oh yeah, I'm the only one in here. Like I can't call someone else in if I get tired. It's just an individual sport, you know.
I love how humbling jiu-jitsu is.
Because you suck in the beginning.
Oh, dude,
so
you
bad.
suck so bad. But also, people overestimate what they can do in a fight.
Yeah,
big time. And you know, I'm not a fighter by any means, but I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a little bit, so I can hold my own decently, right? But people really overestimate that, and then you get into an actual jiu-jitsu gym and roll against a black belt, brown belt, purple, even a blue belt. Probably actually there's a bunch of white belts too.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit.
Like, I didn't know you could do that many things to the arm.
Yeah. You're like, holy crap, I'm incapable of fighting.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I first got to the gym, because I was getting my ass kicked by people smaller than me. And I was like, this whole time I was like, oh, I could fight. You know, you have this idea in your mind. Then you
I can defend myself against this small guy.
Right. Push comes to shove. You're like, oh, shit. Actually, knowing how to do shit makes a difference.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about jiu-jitsu, is it's really like humbling, you know, and I feel like it kind of levels you out, makes you realize like,
kind of puts you back in your place.
It does.
You know, you feel like you're having a great year.
Yeah.
You know, you're building all this stuff, and people are asking you, what are you doing, Corbin? Like, you know, you're building this, you're building that, you know, we see you're successful. And then you're like, you know, some people might be like, they might get, you know, a little ego driven or whatever it might be, you know, but then you go do jiu-jitsu for a month and you're like, oh, if there was nobody here, that guy could kill me right now.
Well, I love
and
to,
that
like,
humbles the shit out of you.
If you're in business and you're good at business and you're killing it or whatever, you can start to develop an ego to you, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely have been through that, and I feel like I've learned from that and I've gotten better. But when you go to jiu-jitsu, like, I feel like it's perfect for that person to just say, hey, go to jiu-jitsu for one day and put you in a completely different environment that you're not good at. You think
nobody here knows you. Nobody cares.
Nobody knows you. Nobody gives a shit about your business.
Nobody gives a shit about you, dude.
Exactly.
This little 150-pound kid's going to scrap you right now.
Exactly. Go in there. You're going to walk out a different person.
Yeah.
I know I did. I walked out the first day and I was like, holy shit.
You might pull up like, oh, I got the nicest car here. And then you just leave there like, oh my God.
You're like, oh my God, I'm a bitch.
That sucks.
I can't fight worth shit.
Yeah.
So, but no, I really love jiu-jitsu. It's been a huge part of my life now, and I'll never quit. You know, it's something that I'll just do forever. Even if it's like, hey, you have periods, like it's seasons. You have a season where it's like you're going 1 day a week, 2 days a week. You have a season where you're going 4 days a week.
Yeah.
But the consistency of doing it, I feel like long term is what's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, and that's my thing, is that I went into it with injuries. So I always have to watch my shoulders. My shoulders are just like, I've blown them out, dislocated them. This one probably needs surgery too. I'm gonna get stem cells pretty soon though. But I want to.
Are you really? In Mexico, or where are you gonna go?
Dude, yeah, I missed my opportunity. I was gonna go to Vegas. They were doing them for like $5 or $6 grand at some place in Vegas, and then the FDA was like, oh, this is illegal now.
Do they make a difference?
Dude, I've heard people that didn't have to get knee surgery. My chiropractor, he was just in the other day. He used to do them. He used to have a nurse, like a specialty license. He would order them, and then you just put them in the vials, and he'd put the little X-ray or, you know, the little thing on you, and he'd put them right to the spot. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I've had people that grow cartilage in between their kneecaps again.
I need that, like in my lower spine.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, well, I'm definitely not getting surgery again, but later I'll get stem cells. But I was like, okay, I want to go back to jiu-jitsu.
Just take it easy, and it matters who you roll with too. Like if you roll with me and Jeff and Chris and
I'll tap.
and Dave,
I have no ego with you guys.
And Balin, we're not gonna freaking rip your arm off.
Yeah.
Right. Some people are so competitive that they want to rip your shit off. You're like, dude, we're rolling. We're teammates.
Yeah.
We're not trying to kill each other, especially at our age, bro. I mean, we're not super old by any means, but it's like, I have a family, I've got a business. Yeah. I'm just trying to go to better myself. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to be the best jiu-jitsu practitioner in the world.
Yeah. This isn't paying me or anything. Exactly. Like, I got to go to work after this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not paying me, you know? So I would like to compete. I think just more for fun though. Not something that I'm going to be like, oh, I want to be the best, you know?
Yeah. And that's where I got into it. I already had injuries, but that was my thing, my ego. When you roll with guys you don't know, you don't want to tap. So I would just tweak my elbow, I'd tweak my neck. I can get out of this. You know what I mean? And before you know it, like your body's twisting this way and then your neck's going that way. And you're like, I should have just tapped, but I don't know this guy, so I don't want to tap.
You just gotta not care.
And I was just like, okay, I got to let that shit go. But it was so hard. You know, even after I tweak my elbow or my wrist or whatever it was, I'd do it again the next week. I wouldn't tap. I'd mess myself. I was like, okay, I just got to roll with guys I know. But that's hard too, because sometimes guys you know aren't there.
Yeah, that's a training thing right there, man. That's what I love about it, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I first went too, I was very like trying to tap everybody, just super spazzy, trying super hard. You know what I mean?
White belt.
Yeah, then
I've been that guy.
Yeah, then you start learning the movements and you're like, oh, by the way, you actually don't have to try that hard. And if you're actually doing the moves
I don't
right,
have to pull that hard if my hips are just 5 degrees this way. Like, okay.
Exactly. I don't have to use all my strength if I'm using the techniques correctly.
Yeah. You know, I can use your strength against you if I just let you push me and then I'm going to throw you over or you know whatever it is.
Yep.
But and that's I think that's going to be a great thing to teach the boys too is you know, thinking smarter, not harder. You know, leveraging, moving the rock. You know, let it move itself. You know, you don't have to sit there and throw yourself into it or whatever. But yeah, that's, man, jiu-jitsu, I was like, just learning, it's kind of weird. I almost felt like, because they say like when you learn like a new language, you actually open up like new pathways in the brain. And I did start to notice, it's kind of weird. I started to notice that even before ChatGPT and all that, I'd be in the office strategizing, thinking, you know, cold calls and people I could reach out to. And just learning like weird, crazy, trippy moves or different escapes, I almost felt more creative in the office that day. Like, how can I go around this person to get to the owner? Or how can I, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I think my brain is working, like, because my brain just got in a rut. And then when you learn something new that's hard, I feel like other parts of the brain open up too. You know what I mean? Which is now why we have ChatGPT. And I think that's going to make us like dumber over time because we're going to rely on it.
Button, dude.
Yeah, we're going to rely on it so much where it's going to be like, how do I do this? I don't have to pick up a book. I don't got to read. I'll just
ultimately,
it do it for me.
It's going to make it to where you don't need to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bad part. Like, you don't need to know how to do math. So you have a computer that can do it for you. Once the calculator came out, I mean, obviously you need to know how to. I'm sure engineers and stuff have to know how to do certain math, but like for what I do, I don't need to know how to freaking do all that. I mean, I know how to do it, but I don't need to know. I can just pull up my calculator. Done. And
then once you know all that, nothing's really, you know, you're not really learning too much after that.
Right.
You might be tweaking little things here and there, me and my dad and I were talking about this the other day. I was like, why do you think dads are just most men from like the 60s and 70s are just bigger than a lot of the guys now? And my dad he just goes, because shit was heavier. He goes, you guys don't have to lift anything. He goes, everything back then was heavy. Or, you know, in the construction world, there's so many things now that the guys can jump on. It's making them lazier. He's like, the more equipment I buy them, the lazier they're, you know, not lazy, but just like the more they're relying on it, where they're just like, I don't want to sweep that up. I'll go get something to pick it up, even though it's like 4 shovel loads.
I got about 5 minutes, bro.
Yeah. So. And I was thinking, you know what? I think technology is doing that to me sometimes. Like, I'm so used to things going quickly and fast now that when I have a little rut, I get so frustrated because I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. You know, this should go this smoothly. And my dad was basically just like, things used to be heavier back then. So we had to be stronger because even a TV back then weighed 400. You had to have a neighbor help you. Now you can go get a 60-inch flat screen and put it up yourself.
That's true. Yeah, I never.
You know, you don't have to use a lot of effort. He was like, so if you're not constantly using that muscle, then yeah, it's gonna get smaller. And I was like, damn, he's right. Because for fun, when he was young, him and his friends would do like push-up competitions. And when I was young, I played Xbox. And I was like, no wonder you guys are all bigger and stronger than us. Like, that's you guys were actually moving.
I know, man. That's true. I played a lot of video games growing up, man.
Yeah.
That was
I'm sitting there and they're just doing pull-ups for fun. I'm like, no wonder you were way more jacked than I was at 13 years old, you know? But I feel like that's where I don't want AI to make my kids lazy. So I'm constantly having them, I have them in different sports, you know, making them do things around the house, even though they're only 4 and 6 years old. They have chores all the time, things they got to do, you know, because I don't want my kid to grow up and be that kid that can't do anything or relies on things too much or doesn't know, you know what I mean? Like even if all cars go electric, I still want my kid to do it like an auto mechanic shop one day, just to know like how these things work.
Right.
You know,
right.
don't be so reliant
to
on all
learn.
this stuff.
Just be a lifetime learner is what I teach my kids. Keep learning. Andy Frisella has some really good books for kids, and I bought those books a couple years ago, and they were just too young, 2, 3, or 1 and 3, and they were just too young to read them. Well, my son picked it up the other night, and this is a pretty cool story. I'll end on this, and I gotta get rolling. He picked it up and he read it. It was. I'll send it to you. It's like Otis and something, maybe I forget, but it was talking about. Like working hard towards your goals and setting a vision and all this stuff. After he read the book, he goes, "Daddy, I want to create a vision board." Or he told my wife that. I'm not going to act like I was there. He goes, Mommy, I want to create a vision board. You know, so she went and got him all the stuff, and he put a vision board down and all this stuff that it teaches you in the book. And so it's a really good book. I'd highly recommend it.
What's it called?
It's just look up Andy Frisella kid books.
Okay.
It's like Otis.
Oh,
and
I know
something.
who you're talking about. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Andy Frisella's the GOAT, bro. I freaking love that guy. But it's Andy Frisella kid books. I forget exactly the title. You'll find it if you Google it.
Yeah.
And they're all like self-improvement books, but for kids. So it's like Otis had this problem, and Otis worked hard to overcome it, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a lot better than just reading normal books. You know, you want something with a problem and how they can solve it.
Right.
You want your kids thinking, not just reading a book for no reason. Like, oh, I remember that out of that book. That's how he overcame this problem.
And it's like specifically a self-development book about positive thinking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'll probably read it and get some stuff out of it.
I know,
out of a
dude.
kid's book.
Hey, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah.
I know you gotta get going.
Yeah, we got to do it again, dude. This is fun. So
Well, we'll end on protecting the next generation, making sure your kids aren't lazy. They're learning stuff, becoming little entrepreneurs.
Yep.
And all right, guys, I'm gonna put some of your stuff. You're on Instagram.
Yep.
LinkedIn. Are you on? What are you on?
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, but I'm not really present on there right now. LinkedIn. You can just look me up by putting Corbin Claypool on Instagram. So,
awesome, man. All right, Mel. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you
See
for
you guys
having
on
me.
the next one.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
Cool. Thanks.